Hi, I am Nicole Bradford and I am a senior psychology major at the University of Charleston. I am currently in experimental research psychology, which is a year-long class. The first semester we are told to choose something that's interesting to us so that we can conduct a research study that will come for the second semester. So like I said, it was our decision what we wanted to do our project on, so it was up to us to decide what was interesting to us. I have always had an interest in memory and the memory studies. I think it's so interesting how some people can memorize things and how long they can remember it, and that's always been an interest to me. So that was one of the variables that I knew that was going to be part of my study. To think of the other variable took a little bit more, but then I realized, hey, we're in college and so many of the undergraduate students that would be participating in my study always say that they're so stressed because of school and everything like that. So I wanted to use stress as my second variable and tie that in with memory to see if it has an effect on memory as a whole. So that's kind of where I got the idea of the study that I designed. My design is a 2x2. The first independent variable I have is stress. So since I have a 2x2 design, 2 of the conditions out of 4 will have an induced stress. The other 2 are the control conditions, and there will be no stress induced. So I had to think also of what I can do to induce stress, because different people think different things are stressful. I came up with having a times table and other brain games, like brain activities, to implement to it's kind of like having a pop quiz to see if that kind of stresses them, to see if that has an outcome of what they were able to recall in the final measuring the dependent variable. So that was my first independent variable, which is whether induced stress or whether stress was induced or not. The second independent variable was the delay of recall. This will make more sense when I explain my whole study, but there were 2 levels for delay of recall, and it could be 10-second delay, which is almost like an immediately delay, and a 10-minute delay of recall. So to clear that up a little bit, the participants will come into the psych lab to begin the study, and after they sign the consent form and do the brief questionnaire of saying what is your age and your sex and that, I will give them a list of words. A few examples of words that would be on the list would be like nurse, tree, bike, table, just like nouns that don't really have much meaning. They don't relate to each other, so there's no way, it won't be nurse, hospital, doctor. They're words that are not related. So in the condition that stress is induced, after they are given the list of words, that is when they will get the brain activity game, and we will see if that stress causes an effect whenever they are later asked to recall as many words as they can from the list that they were originally given. So where the other variable comes in is they will say they will get they will recall the words immediately, or there will be a delay of 10 minutes to recall, which means that my hypothesis states that the participants that are in the condition where the delay of recall is the longest, the 10-minute delay, and the induced stress will remember the least amount of words, especially compared to no stress and immediate delay of recall. In order to build my study's design, I looked at past research and saw what questions they asked and how they ran their studies to get a good idea of what I should do. So there has been a lot of research on memory and stress. There are similarities to the study that I'm doing, and there's a lot of differences. For example, some of the studies measure how many numbers somebody can remember, or something like that, instead of words on a word list. Also, whenever some of the researchers use words on the word list, they use words that are positive, negative, or neutral in emotion to see if that has any effect on if they remember it or not, whether there's stress or not. And I wasn't really interested in the particular type of word, so I stayed away from that, and I'm not going to be that specific in the words that I use. But I thought that was interesting that some people did that part of the study as well. So there was a study that was very similar to what I'm going to do, my prototypical study. That study was by Schoofs, Probe, and Wolf, and it was done in 2008. They used 40 undergraduate male students, and half of them were in a control group and half were in the experimental group. In order to induce the stress, they used the Trier social stress test, and this is a laboratory procedure to induce the stress in the humans. Obviously, I don't have access to this, and my stress is going to hopefully work, even though technically it might not be stressful for everybody in that situation, but I'm going to do what I can. Hopefully that if I get a certain hypothesis or certain research, the participants in my study will come from mostly undergraduate psychology courses like Lifespan or Intro to Psych. I'm aiming to have 48 participants. Generally, whenever you're doing research, you should have 12 participants per condition, and my study has 4 conditions. Therefore, I want 48 participants. I understand that some people might not show up or might not complete my research study, but that's what I'm going to aim for, is 48. So overall, once my study is run, if my hypothesis is supported, the experimental group with the long delay of recall of 10 minutes and the induced stress should recall the least amount of words compared to the other 3 conditions.